I'm super excited that today, when I get done with this, we are going to be making some cookies. I'm actually wiping cookies out of my teeth with my tongue as I speak. Unfortunately, it is this unfortunate thing that each time I have cookies in the house, or even the parts of cookies that will later be assembled in my home, I just happen to eat them, and there's no reason for it. I know I shouldn't. I don't need the sugar. I don't need the carbs. Today I have an excuse because I'm going to be making one with my son, and so it's easy to say that you know what I mean, because he's you're like, I know what you mean. You don't have to keep asking. I do know what you mean. Yep, you have a son. He wants to make cookies. I got it. You don't have to ask if I know what you mean. He wants to make cookies after this, so I am actually looking forward to it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yesterday, I told the guy, I hope your colonoscopy goes well. Are you supposed to say that? I only knew about it because he told me about it. You know what I mean? Like, if he wouldn't mention it, it would have never even been on my mind. I'd never even met this guy. So the first thing, it couldn't have been the first thing he says. I'd like to think it wasn't the first thing that he said, but he was like, have you ever had a colonoscopy? And I was like, no, sir, I've not. And hopefully that wasn't code for anything, because if it was, it went way over my head. But he was like, that was my introduction to him. That's what I remember the most, anyway, from the first time I've ever met this guy. So I wonder if it's just more common in older folks to talk about procedures. He did have gray hair, but that doesn't mean anything. I have a gray hair popping out the side of my head. Why did those pop out so much more? Why do they stand out? Like, why? I literally, I was thinking about cutting it. I was thinking about taking these like trim scissors I have and actually trying to cut it off, but I was concerned that my stylist would notice. I know that sounds crazy, but I was like, what if she notices that I cut it and she thinks it's some other stylist and she thinks that I'm cheating on her, and so then she does a bad job of my hair, which is crazy. She wouldn't do that, but unfortunately, I had that crazy thought, so I just thought I'd share it with you. So it just seems like the gray ones stand out more than they should. And I don't know, I guess it's just more and more normal to see cameras everywhere. So maybe he was just like, it's just another camera. They're not always there, but, they're like everywhere else. Sometimes there, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. Dude, my eye has been doing this crazy thing, and you probably can't see it, and maybe you can, but where my eyelid over my eye just does this crazy spasming thing, and I have no idea what that does or why it's happening. And the only thing I can think of or try to say, like, what is different about my life this week, and I for sure have not been getting enough sleep. It seems like each night I'm just like, something's keeping me up late that I have to do, and everybody's like, yeah, that's the life of being a parent. Welcome to, you know what I mean? No, my son's like 8 years old. No, he's 7 right now, but he'll be 8 soon, like 2 months. So my point in saying that is, it's not like welcome to parenthood, but most parents would probably be like, I'm so tired. It's funny, that part always stands out to me when I watch that Welcome to the Spider-Verse. When you watch like the Miles Morales Welcome to the Spider-Verse, he's like, Spider-Man's like, I'm so tired. I'm just like, that's for the parents watching this. Everybody's like, I can relate to that. I can easily relate to that, unfortunately. So that's where I say it's probably more just like welcome to parenthood. It's a normal thing. I don't know if you guys have seen that new Spider movie, the new Spider-Man. I guess if it's been like 2 months since it's been out, so if you haven't seen it by now, you probably don't give a shit, but I cried like a baby, dude. I won't try to spoil anything, but I literally had tears running down my eyes in that theater. I was sitting there with my son, and I am so I say unfortunately because it's all just fictional. It's crazy to think that my literal, some part of me is actually wrapped up and attached to what has happened, because I held out for so long. I had seen this like documentary, I think it was, and it was talking about the main part I remember is it was talking about the movie Airplane, and it just said that like after the movie Airplane came out and it was successful, everybody just tried to copy that. So there was this like series of time where like all the films were about disaster movies. And then, for instance, so that was probably like, I want to say it had to do with like the 60s or the 70s, probably the 70s. But then after that, it was like this big superhero phase. And they were like, the 80s was the superhero phase. So that was like when Superman came out in the 80s. And somebody's probably like, it came out in 1979, dude. And like the next one came out in like 1982. So actually, oh shit, I can't say actually because that's way too much. Yeah, no. I didn't mean to do that. Okay. Bad impression. But so don't remember what I was talking about. Tight. But oh yeah, the basically the idea was there was all these disaster movies, right? And then so like that faded out. So like when Airplane came out, it was really popular, and they obviously fit a formula at that point, and then everybody tries to copy this formula. So then the Superman movies in the 80s. And then everybody tries to copy this formula. So, for instance, after I had seen that at one time, when I saw the when I saw the superhero movies start to come out, I was like, oh, this is just going to be a phase. I was like, I can miss this one. It's not going to be a big deal. But, I mean, for instance, the first, like, Marvel movies started becoming popular in like the 2010s, and it's here in 2022, and there's still good ones. There was a little break there, but still some good ones being put out. So it's like, I was way wrong. So point being, I ended up eventually, because me and my son would go to see so many movies. We would go to the drive-in and we would go to the movie theater. It was kind of like our thing for a really long time. And so we ended up seeing like Ant-Man and Wasp, and we ended up seeing like Spider-Man Far From Home and things like that. And then the reason, again, I brought this whole thing up is because I was saying we saw that movie and I cried like a baby. But in that time, as long as I held out and as long as I just tried to like, I'm not going to get into this whole superhero phase. Eventually, we see some more movies. And then it's funny, I actually saw Endgame after I saw Black Widow. So, like, we went and saw Black Widow in the theaters, and then I saw Endgame. So, if that gives you an idea, I mean, that came out in 2021, late in the year. And so, we really held out for a really long time. But then they're really good movies, right? So, like, apparently, I was, and I said I wasn't going to give anything away. But my point is just, like, clearly attached to Marissa Tomei's character and clearly attached to Tom Holland and just Zendaya, and they just do this amazing. It's terrible. It's pathetic. But my point is, I was almost tearing up. But it's a great movie. Again, if it's been 2 months since it came out and you guys haven't seen it, you probably don't give a fuck. But I just don't understand how I got so attached to these fictional characters and literally was like in that theater. Expressing emotions, and I'm like, this has probably got something to do with something else in the world, and you're just projecting it onto this. But just a super amazing movie. My son liked it a lot. It also opens up that whole thing where, I mean, I said I wasn't going to spoil it, but the idea is just like, if you're into Spider-Man, we can look at some of the Spider-Mans that maybe came out like when I was a kid, because when I was a kid, it was those Tobey Maguire ones, and we for instance, could watch those, and we could enjoy that as well, because like I said, movies were a thing for a period of time. But I don't know. I don't know how I got here. I know originally I was talking about colonoscopies. Another thing I was thinking about is like, how hard is it to wait for meat to rest? It's like, and maybe I misread something, or maybe I'm misunderstanding some sort of, but you're supposed to wait like 10 minutes, right? Like, so for instance, if you get some sort of beef and you've just finished it, it's super tight, right? And it's like, basically they say it's like your knuckles, if they're together and they're all white. So you want to let them relax and you want to let it chill out. And so for instance, it's got to be one of the hardest things, because you've just got this done. It's literally probably sizzling right as it comes off of the heat that whatever you've had it on. And it probably smells so good, right? If you have some sort of garlic or onion or any sort of salt or seasoning or anything on it, you're just literally, mouth is watering. And then you're like, I have to, or I shouldn't say you, me personally, I have to set a timer. I literally have to put a timer on and say, okay, I have to let this rest for 10 minutes. I won't let this rest for 10 minutes. And you know what's funny? Like, for the longest time, I didn't even eat meat. I literally sat out on meat for the longest time. I was like, I think beef makes me sick. And now I've realized it probably has a lot more to do with the source, because at the time, I'm literally like, the majority of my diet is like fast food, right? So it's like I'm eating Hamburger Helper and McDonald's, and I get stomach aches. Cows it's got to be cows. So, because, yeah, right. You could just be, I should say you. Again, this is me embarrassingly admitting that, yeah, so for years, I thought I had like a beef thing. I thought beef wasn't good for me. One of the first times I really realized it is I ate this huge prime rib, and I think prime rib's supposed to be like kind of rare, and most meats are served, especially beef, are served fairly red, and it's supposed to be like either medium rare or something, right? So point being, if you have a weak stomach, I guess it can affect you in some way or another, but I had eaten this big prime rib, and then it hurt my stomach, and then later I ate like this large steak sandwich, and then that's what hurt my stomach. But again, it's like more often than not, it was some sort of fast food or like Hamburger Helper, so like literally ground beef, just by, and no knock on ground beef, but clearly the source has it has something to do with the way I felt. So for instance, in the last recent times, I've like tried to try meat again, and the first thing I did was like buy some ribeyes. They were 50% off, and I remember I used to make fun of my niece and nephew, their father. I used to make fun of him because he worked at a grocery store, and he's always trying to sell those discounted meats, and I'd always give him a hard time because I was like, dude, nobody buys that. That's bullshit. Nobody's buying that disgusting meat. I was like, nobody wants that stuff, and that's what first brought me back into it. It was like 50% off, and I was like, man, I haven't cooked in a really long time, meat, steak, beef in particular, and I was like, I'll give it a shot. I was like, this is perfect. It's, you know what I mean? It costs me 50% of what it should cost me, so if I mess all of it up, it's no big deal. And I ended up really enjoying it. So they were just ribeyes, so lots of fat and everything. But the weird thing I noticed about that, so like for instance, after that, I tried to buy something comparable in price, because if you're getting 50% off, obviously it's a really good price. So I tried to buy something comparable price, and I think I got like round steak or something like that, because I was like, oh, if I just, if I cook it in oil, if I use some bacon fat to kind of break it down, and if I cook it on a low temperature for a period of time, like almost like, I don't know, it's almost like frying it basically, but just ultimately trying to tenderize it a little bit. And it seemed like no matter what, the fats in the ribeye are so much easier to get through than say a round steak or something like that. So it does really matter, unfortunately, what you buy, but I hadn't bought it for the longest time. And so it's weird. Like I actually, at that period of time when I stopped eating beef, I like went to the GI doctor, and I was like, there's got to be something wrong with me. And nobody believes when I say this, but the GI doctor was like, I need you to stop eating vegetables for 2 weeks. And everybody's like, there is not a doctor out there. There is no way that there's a doctor that told you to stop eating vegetables for 2 weeks. And I'm like, I swear to God, she was like, it could have, and I think I actually heard it like a period of time later. She was like, it could have something to do with your gut microbiome, right? So for instance, having too much leafy greens for a long period of time, like I ate a lot of spinach at the time, I ate a lot of carrots, bell peppers, things like that. That was almost all I ate. And she was like, stop eating vegetables. And people was like, a doctor would never ever instruct you to stop eating vegetables. But I went to this GI specialist, right? Because like I quit eating beef, and I was just like, I have stomach problems, I have no idea what it is. And it just turned out that she was like, after that, oh my goodness, I've always referred to it as basically like a self-induced flu, but there's this thing that like a GI doctor can do to you. And I'm thinking of all this, of course. You're like, dude, you don't need to, nobody cares. She gave me this cocktail, right? And I don't remember if it was called a flush or what it was, but basically it was like these things that you can buy at the store that are just over the counter that are like supposed to taste like a soda, right? It's ultimately supposed to be some sort of like soda, but it's some sort of laxatives. So you take this cocktail of like soda sort of laxatives, and then like pill sort of laxatives, and like all these different things that is literally a cocktail of at least 3 different laxatives. And I'm a moron, right? So I'm not trying to talk bad about myself. My point in saying that is that originally I take these and I'm like, I don't think it's doing anything. I don't, I'm 6'3". It's probably, I'm almost like 200 pounds. It's got to be, I need more than normal people. I'm sure I'm supposed to take more than most people. So I drink like another one of these like soda things. I start taking more of the like laxative pills. And then, again, it felt like basically I induced the flu, because the next 2 days I was just on the toilet, absolutely losing it. And gosh, it's so funny. As those words come out of my mouth, I almost can't remember where I'm going with this, because my body is saying, dude, why are you talking about that? What are you doing? Abort mission. I have no idea. Okay. It was the GI doctor. Originally came out to the GI doctor. She I think I my eye, you can see it. It's so weird. It's like spasming. It's the darndest thing. I probably just need to get more sleep. I know that's one of those things you gotta just do. You gotta just make sure you're getting enough. But again, I think it like wrecked my insides. Another thing that, again, I don't think my mom would ever agree with. And I say that sometimes because, again, as a parent, sometimes you hear like one of your kids say something that could like come across negative as a reflection of your work. And so you're like, nope, that didn't happen. No, that's not true. But I also had way too many antibiotics as a kid. Like, there was a period of time. I've been sober for years. I'm not worried about it at this point. I was basically going to the doctor. There was a period of time where I was just going to the doctor because I wanted pain pills. I had gotten some pain pills for my wisdom teeth. I gotten some pain pills for some other stuff. So I was just going in there telling them I was in pain. And now I'm trying to think why this. Oh, and I ended up getting like antibiotics at periods of times. There was periods of times where like I would get prescribed antibiotics. So like I was really looking for prescription pills. And like, years later, they really, really caught on to this. But this was in the very beginning where I thought, I could just get whatever. So I was a total moron. So my point is, like, even years earlier, I was like going to the doctor telling him like, oh, I'm in so much pain. I'm in pain because I wanted pills, and I was just a total piece of shit. But I ended up getting antibiotics, and there was lots of periods of times where I got antibiotics, and I think that just wrecked my insides. I think it just completely destroyed them. So there's a lot of things that I did, and I shouldn't have been like, oh, it's beef. It's cows. Cows have destroyed my insides. Not taking a look at like, oh, maybe all the antibiotics you've taken, maybe all the alcohol you drink, like maybe, oh geez, all the millions of things. You know what I mean? Again, the pills that you had gotten prescribed to you and that you tried to get prescribed to you again. But luckily, doctors are intelligent. People always said to give my doctor a hard time because they were like, you should just change your doctors. You should be able to ask your doctor for whatever you want. But his second, I don't know how you say it. I think it's like his second major or whatever was like addiction. So he was on me like white on rice duty. That's what my mom always just say. It's not cool. You don't say that anymore. People don't say that. But he was on me, dude. He was like, nope, not happening. He was like, oh, you're in pain. I guess it's still bad though. The fact that I got antibiotics, but I don't know. My mom lately, dude, she walks like a goblin. I don't understand it. Like, I'm like, won't you do something? Won't you just try to do something about your body? Like, I don't understand. And she's like literally unwilling. I'd like to use that I was gonna say unused. It's completely the opposite of what I was trying to say. I'd like to use that overused statement of like what Smeagol or whatever from the Lord of the Rings novels, but he's way more agile than my mom. She is literally, dude, I'm like 7 minutes. Here's 7 minutes on a podcast. I'm like, started at 1849 and listened to it to 25 minutes. I'm like, that's all I ask. They're just talking about, I've tried to talk to her. I'm like, I think you should go get stem cells. I'm like, and then again, that's a lot to ask, right? You're asking somebody to travel. You're asking somebody to pay a lot. We had talked about it a really long time ago, and I was like, I think you should go out of the country to do it. And I know that sounds crazy, and everybody thinks I'm crazy to say that, but it's like, I was like, you should probably go out of the country to do it. And even now, I was like, just go in the country. And then she just thinks I'm crazy. And I'm like, listen, just take 7 minutes and listen to this podcast and just see what I think. Or see what you think. See if there's anything on there that you think you could apply that would help you. And then, again, it's like, I understand that's a lot of money. So I'm like, will you look at these ice barrels? You know what I mean? It's like, or anything. It's like, because I looked at it, it was $1,200. I'm like, so at some point, if you're walking like a goblin, if you literally look like you've got to be in so much pain that you're going to fall over, you're going to put a price on it. People pay for things all the time. Again, she smokes cigarettes, so it's like she's clearly paying $5 for, that was when I smoked when I was 16. They cost way more than $5 a pack now. I don't know what they cost, but she's paying things to let her life continue. So I was like, at some point, you're going to put a price on it. You're going to decide, I would rather I would rather pay this few amount of dollars to have my sanity. And I was like, literally, it's just buying ice every once in a while. Like, I don't know what some people do. I think you can get away with like 30 pounds in some instances. So you buy 30 pounds of ice, you buy the $1,200 ice barrel. I'm like, I understand it's a lot to ask you. Like, say, yeah, spend 22,000. Like, I couldn't do that. There's no way I could do that. But again, I'm lucky to be young and agile and not have to worry about these things. But I do worry about her. I just worry about her walking, and she's got this just total inability to walk. It looks like she has no strength, and so I just feel bad for her. And it's like, how do people do that without just putting a price on it and just saying, because it's not like she doesn't have money. Like, I understand if you didn't have means and there's no way you could do it, but she ultimately, if she wanted to, she could take the time off, get some sort of injection. She could at least, like I said, like maybe start doing ice baths. Like, what's the worst thing that could happen? You spend 5 minutes at the start. Your goal is 5 minutes in the ice, and it hopefully helps your knee over a period of time. It's like, I just don't understand. I don't know. I feel bad for her. Excuse me. The other day I had this dog that was like jumping all over me, and it makes me think of this dog that I had when I was a kid. My son asks for a dog, and he's like, says he wants a dog, but I think it's the exact same thing. Like, I remember telling my parents, I was like, I'll take care of it. I was like, of course I'll take care of it. I was like, me? Are you don't think I'll take it outside? You don't think I'll want to pick up the poop? You don't think I'll want to take care of the come on. I'm like, of course. I'm going to want to take it on walks it's going to be my new puppy. Of course I'm going to want to take it on walks. Of course I'm going to want to just pick up the poop. I mean, I'm going to love it. I'm going to want to be around it all the time. I was like, Mom, are you crazy? And she was so nice. She got me, and then she also decided, because she was like, well, because I had a brother that was like just literally 1 year older than me, or 11 months older than me, and so she was like, well, he's got to get a puppy too, and so they literally got 2 puppies. But the other day I had this golden retriever jumping on me. And do you ever let other people's dogs behave in a way that you would never allow your dogs? Because like, he was jumping all over me, right? Which, like, for instance, if that was my dog, I'd be, I guess, as a control freak, unfortunately, because I'm like thinking, like, people are going to reflect that as me, his trainer, so to speak, has not taught him that you can't jump on people. You can't just like literally claw and jump all over people. But like, as an example, the other day I'm at this guy's house, and this golden retriever who reminded me so much of my dog when I was a kid, this golden retriever that they had got me and my brother, which my stepdad ended up taking and having later, but he took care of them, of course, because I was wrong and a liar, and I never took care of him. And after the first few weeks, my dog hated me, because just like I'm saying, I was like, I had this expectation and this control that I was like, well, it needs to behave and it needs to sit. And it's like, at the time it was a puppy. And like the weird thing was that I thought, is like, I let this dog the other day just jump all over me. I would never do that if it was my own dog. I would think like, dude, you need to sit, you need to relax. Like, people don't like that. But it was, I was just messing with him, like talking to him. I was like, where is everybody? Where is everybody? Because like, I had an appointment and nobody showed up, and the dog was there jumping all over me. But after just a few minutes, he got down. Like, so just after a few minutes, and maybe not even that, like, it probably just felt like that. It was probably like an amount of seconds. So like, after he jumps on me, I give him just a little amount of attention, then he's just walking around beside me. So it's almost like it makes me think back, like with my dog, if I would have just let him jump up for a second, which in this case, this dog just wanted some attention, then he literally would have behaved in the way that I wanted. Like, ultimately, all along, all I wanted him to do was like follow around and want to be my buddy. And then of course it didn't work that way, because like, I wanted him to be relaxed, but like, I just let this dog jump all over me. Again, not even a matter of a few minutes later, then he's just like wants to hang out and be around me, because he's like got his amount of attention. He doesn't need to jump up anymore. He's excited at the first time you see him. And I'm just like, did I misread this all along? Like, yeah, my son wants a dog, but I'm like, well, one, we live in a place that he couldn't have one, but two, I'm just like, the same thing that I said. I'm like, basically, I have to be ready to take care of it. I have to know that once we get it, I'm ready for that responsibility. And yeah, we don't live in a place that we can have one right now anyway, but it's one of those things that I'm just like, I feel like I would let another person's dog behave in a total different way. And then as a result, it's like I saw them give me the results that I ultimately wanted. I know you can't control a dog, but I don't know. I'm gonna shut up. Speaking of my son, the other day, they gave him an assignment. And it made me think of when I was a kid. This book came out, and I think we pronounced it Friendle, but it was like Friendle. Basically, the kids in the class like renamed what the pen was gonna be. Like they called the pen something else, and so they told my son, they were like, make up a new word, and it made me think of that because like these kids made up a new word for the pen. And it ended up being in the dictionary in the end of the book. Spoiler alert. Yeah, if you didn't see that, I know I didn't ruin Spider-Man, but I just busted Friendle down from the core. So he had to make up a new word. And he's like, guess what my word was? And I was like, I have no idea. And he's like, Vuzuk. And I was like, do you feel like that's close to any other words? And no, dude. Totally original. I've never heard that word. Vuzuk. I'm picturing it like Vuzuck. Vuzuk. Doesn't that sound a lot like anything else that you've ever heard? Like, no, dude. So he says that it's Vuzoc, so it's like Vuzok. It's just Vuzok, but when you say it sounds like Vuzok, right? But like you presented that, and what did people think when you said, "Yes, my word is Vuzok"? Vuzok. It sounds so much like some other words that I've heard, but he didn't feel that way. So it was very creative, and I was glad that he was able to express that to his class with a straight face. And I love him so much. I'm gonna go check on him. I'll be right back. I went and checked on my son. He's doing good. I told him that I shared that story. No idea why. Maybe I'm crazy. Please tell me. Your kid comes home. Their word is Vuzuk. That doesn't sound like any other words you've ever heard. That is not close to any other words you've ever heard. Please tell me that I'm not crazy. Like, I'm certain that is close to one word that I've heard and unfortunately said in front of him. And that is why, as a parent, I worry how that reflects on me. But one thing I was thinking about, I compare it to my mom because I guess it's so easy to know the ins and outs of one of your parents. You know all the details of the things they've said, because my first thought is to say unfortunately, but whether it's fortunate or unfortunate, as I slam my finger into the mic, you know their thoughts because they've repeated them over and over and over. And I know one of the things I was talking about my mom with recently is returning stuff. And I'm like, there is so many times, almost so often, I'm just not gonna return things. And she's like, no, I'll return it every time. Every single time I'll take it back. But like, just an example, one time I got an item from Amazon that was $4. $4. They didn't send it to me. You know what it was? Actually, this is what happened. I bought it was, now that I think about it, they were selling it as a 4-pack. So the item's supposed to be like $4 and some cents, but it was like almost $20 for 4 of them. So I bought 4 of them on Amazon. And you know what's funny? It's like my brand, unfortunately. So I'll just tell you exactly what it was. It was like Zit Cream. It was like Zit Cream that I bought on Amazon. So I bought this 4-pack of Zit Cream on Amazon, and they only sent me one. That's what happened. So like normally when you buy them, they're like 4 something, but they only sent me one of them. So basically then they tell me, they're like, you need to bring this back. So I tell Amazon, hey, you sent me 1. I'm supposed to get 4. And they're like, okay, return this. And I was like, that's not fucking happening. There's no way. There's 0 chances in my life that that's happening. Yes, I paid the charge was nearly 20, but the item that I had was only almost $5. So for instance, the ultimate thing I had to do was drive to it was a UPS location, wait in line at the UPS location. I've done this before with other stuff, so I know exactly what happens. And then just so if I say I just was like driving home right after that, that's an hour of my time. So an hour of my time is not worth $5. In the end, and I was never even able to submit this comment because they said that it didn't apply to what was happening, unfortunately, which is just insane. But you tell me, if I order a 4-pack of something and you send me one, should I return the one so you can send me another 4? What my brain says, and I understand how it works, they need the item in return so they can give the refund and then send the correct thing. If I order a 4-pack of something and you send me one, just send me the other 3. Just send me the 3 that you didn't send me. I don't know how that doesn't make sense. So again, I was not even able to submit that comment because it was, I don't know, I probably didn't word it correctly. And at this point I was like, I have no idea why I'm talking about this, but I hate returning stuff. I'm just not going to do it. There's so often so I'm gonna wait 15 minutes in line. I'm gonna drive 15 minutes there, drive 15 minutes back. Like, yeah, I could go to a store or something like that, stop on the way, but that's an hour of my time for an item that's $4 and something cents, $5. There's no chance I'm doing that. There's no chance. It's just not gonna happen. And so my mom's like, "You're wasting money," and I'm like, "Nah, I would rather not lose my time. I lose that all the time because like Sam's and I don't know if I should be saying these. I don't know if I should be saying. I'm probably they're gonna be like, you are no, who cares? Sometimes I'll order stuff and you just get the complete wrong thing. I'm not going to go through the process of just returning what you've given me and asking for the right thing back. Like, I'm just not going to do it. It's a waste of my time. There's no way that I'm doing that every time. So I'd just be curious to see, like, if you get something wrong, say it was sent to you, do you go through the process? You go to the store, you wait in the line, you return it, you do everything you have to do because they messed up. And that's what I told the person. Like, I talked to somebody online and I was like, you messed up? You messed up and I have to wait an hour of my time? Do you understand how that sounds? For $4 and something, you messed up and now I get to waste an hour of my time? I can't. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me. But again, that's where I mentioned my mom because I know she is 100% polar opposite. That's her money. You messed up. It's you need to make it right. But I'm like, I don't know. It comes at a cost. I'd be curious to see what people do. Everybody's like, dude, nobody cares about that. Nobody thinks about that. But another thing I was thinking about, dude, there was this one night. Yep. It came out of my mouth. I can't. That's it. You know what I mean? I can't pretend like it didn't. It's what happened. And I was just thinking, there was this game that we used to play, and it doesn't relate to anything. But so like me and my friend are in a hot tub, and I'll be conservative and say there's 8, right? So approximately half. I think there was 15 girls. So I think it's me and my friend and 15 girls in this hot tub. The game is everybody takes off your bottoms and you throw them in the middle and you just have to grab some. So it's like at one point everybody just says, okay, go. And obviously when you have jets on in a hot tub, technically you can't really see anything while people are sitting down. And then when the jets are going, it's kicking everybody's stuff around at the bottom. So it's ultimately like a smoothie of everybody's bottoms. You just have to grab bottoms and then guess whose it is. So that's the rule. If you guess that you got the right one, so for instance, you just have to put them on, stay with the bubbles going, and then you have to say like, I think I got this person's. And so, or maybe you think you got your own or whatever it is. Obviously in this case, unless you got 2 pairs of shorts, you had a 50% chance in that case because it was just me and one other guy. But other than that, you basically have no idea. So then the rule is after that, if you don't get my mind is working its way through the rest of this story, and I'm starting to think it's like that situation I had earlier where I was like abort mission, but it doesn't matter. It is what it is. So basically, after if you don't guess what you have, it doesn't matter if you guess or not. So once you guess, you stand up. So you stand up, you get out of the bubbles, and you have somebody else's bottoms on, right? And so you have, if you get it wrong, you don't get to keep bottoms on for the rest of the evening, right? And so like in this particular case, there was one of these girls, her boyfriend had like passed out, and so like he had came and he was drinking and everybody was having fun, but then he got way too drunk and so he passed out. And I think one of the rules too is like, not to mention, if you didn't get it correct, you had to kiss the person's bottoms that you did have on. So whoever's bottoms that you did have on, you then had to kiss. Well, I ended up having to kiss his girlfriend. And even as I'm saying this, I'm like, every guy in the world fucking hates you right now. They want to kill you. They think you're a piece of shit. And it happened way longer than it should have. And after a while, everybody was like, hey guys, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think this is appropriate anymore. And we ended up later that night, in a shower, and then I remember eventually her boyfriend woke up and he came into the bathroom, and there was 2 doors in the bathroom. So then I run out of the shower in just a towel. I don't even remember what I grabbed, but I got into my truck and I just drove home like as fast as I could. In that towel, I drove home. But then when I got to my house, I guess I got timid or I got scared. I don't know what happened, but when I got to my house, I was like, apparently trying to decide how I was going to go inside or what I was going to do to get inside my house. And I passed out and I fell asleep. And then my stepdad in the morning found me in my truck with no clothes on, just sitting in the driveway, completely passed out. And so, I don't know, I was thinking about that the other day, but what a total disaster, right? Like, I don't know. What in the world's wrong with people? There was another night. I remember it was the first night that I ever went to a strip club. The first night ever. And I think actually the only night ever. Yeah, it's the only night I've ever been to one. So the first and only night I've ever been to a strip club, I went to the bus stop. I don't know if it's still there, but there's a period of time, like I live in northern Colorado, and so that's near Boulder, Colorado. So Boulder's like where Colorado State is. Excuse me, Colorado University. I'm a piece of shit. What kind of native Colorado and can't remember that Boulder has Colorado University. I'm just trying to tell people, just trying to relate, like, what is there? There's a place called the bus stop. So it was the first and only night I ever been to a strip club. But I remember it just being the most sad experience that I ever had. And it could be, but this is like, you would think, right? And maybe it was bunk. I don't even want to think about it. It makes me like literally sick. I don't know if you guys have ever had ecstasy, but like sometimes it makes this feeling in your mouth or this taste in your mouth. It's just the most disgusting thing in the entire world, and I don't recommend that anybody do it ever. But my point in saying that is I was on like a lot of ecstasy at the point. So like me and all my friends, we went to the strip club, and I thought at the time, I remember I pulled out $200, and I remember I gave my friend like a third of it and my other friend like a third of it, and I thought I was balling out of control. Dude, with $200 in cash singles, I thought I was so cool. But I remember this one girl like asked me to go in the back, and I was like, no, like not at all. No way. Like there's no way I'm doing that. They weren't even like attractive. And like, again, I've heard more about this later on, and it's like, yeah, it's because you got $200 from the front guys. They don't send out the good girls when it's $200 that you pull out in singles. And so that's all good. I'm glad I never learned the ins and out of that particular business. But like they ask you to go in the back, and I was like, there's no way. And then like the other girl that they had on stage, I just remember it was extremely sad. And you would think, again, like typically on a drug like that, you would like be overstimulated. You would be more excited. But I didn't feel that way. I didn't enjoy it at all. It was like one of the only times I've ever been there. I mean, I don't know. I was thinking it has almost no relation except to something I said earlier. I mean, like, we went and saw that Spider-Man movie, which, again, if you haven't seen 2 months by now, you don't like and you don't give a shit. But we we ate popcorn, right? So, like, me and my son, like I said, we used to go to the movies all the time. Like, we went all the time. And, like, a big thing, or it seems like a lot of times when people go to movies, they buy popcorn, right? He always said he didn't like it. Well, one time recently, he goes with my mom. Like, my mom took him and she just bought popcorn instinctively, not asking him whether or not he likes it. And so now he likes it. So, like, all of a sudden, my son, who's 7 years old, almost gonna be 8, he likes popcorn. Like, he's never tried it before. He just thought he didn't like it. He thought it was gross, and so he's never tried it. And yeah, again, dude, always doesn't matter. My memories of popcorn and stuff when I was a kid, dude, I swear I've had, like, and I don't know if I said this in the beginning, but I was thinking about it, but, like, we're gonna have cookies, and I've been eating way too many of the cookies, and, like, I've always struggled with my weight, dude. I've always struggled with, like, trying not to eat too much, and, like, literally talking about, and there was this girl that, like, when it's the biggest thing I can trace it back to is, like, me and my sister were, like, raised and, like, we grew up over at my grandma's. My grandma, like, watched us all the time. So, like, my mom worked two jobs and she was a single mom. My dad wasn't around until I was like 10 years old. So my grandma watched us a lot. And there was this other girl that my grandma watched. And she one time when we were in the pool, she called me fat, and I swear that's, like, kind of, I've told my sister that, and I think she thinks I'm crazy, but it's the thing I can relate it back to. But I think I've always kind of had, my sister always referred to it as, like, a complex. I know I have, like, weight problems or whatever it is, but, like, when I think about popcorn, dude, I used to eat so much popcorn. Like, I'd make, like, 2 bags, right? Like, 2 bags of popcorn. And I even told my son about this. It's weird. I'm, like, mixing, like, happy and sad memory, happy memory, sad memory, happy memory, sad memory. But my dad, when he got out, eventually he showed me, and I don't know where he learned it, but he would pop, like, literally the kernels, so he would take the kernels in one of those old crappy things, which my son said he hates. So, like, now he's had popcorn and he's had the chance to try, like, movie theater popcorn and other popcorn, and he's like, that stuff that comes out when people do the kernels at home is the most disgusting stuff ever. But my dad, on the other hand, he would make it where, like, he would have a little bit come out and then he would soak it. He would lightly drip melted butter on it and then salt it. So a tiny bit come out, lightly drip melted butter on it and salt it. Toss it, lightly put melted butter on it and toss it, salt it. Dude, my sister used to be a swimmer when she was younger, and she would go to swimming with, like, one of those huge gallon Ziploc bags just full of butter and popcorn, and literally just be dripping, like, yellow at the bottom. But, like, I would make it like that too. So after a while I learned that, and I would take, like, 2 bags of that shitty popcorn that you're already making, that's, like, pre-made, right, just in the microwave, and then I'd put, like, all kinds of butter, melted butter on it, toss it, put melted butter on it, toss it, melted butter, just so that way it's not too wet, but everything has melted butter on it. It's not when you get to a point where, like, when you get off the top, then all the salt and all the melted butter is gone. So you've made sure that, like, every point in there, it's almost like tossing a pasta, but you've tossed this popcorn so much. I would toss 2 bags of popcorn, all the butter, all the salt, and then I would just puke it all up, dude. I would just I don't know. I hope that, I can't imagine my son's ever going to have weight issues or ever have issues like that, but, like, I would just puke it all up, dude. And I still struggle to, like, I mean, it seems like I have these, like, weird things where, like, and I smile because it's like, I'll wake up in the middle of the night and I'll just pound my face full of almonds, dude. Like, I'll eat all kinds of almonds, and I'm laughing for a dumb reason. But, like, one morning I had, like, woke up in the middle of the night and I ate a bunch of almonds, right? And one fell out of my mouth and it was in my bed. And I'm waking up making my bed and I'm looking and I just see this almond, and, like, I probably need glasses. I should probably be wearing glasses, but I just see this tiny brown thing in my white sheets, and I'm just like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Like, okay. So I get close to it and thank God it was just an almond. Think, if I had a dog or something, I'd think like, oh, the dog just made a mess in the bed, but I thought it was me. And yeah, obviously just an almond, but thank goodness. But my point in saying that is I still like will wake up in the middle of the night and like eat food because like I don't know, I guess I'm destined to have weight issues for the rest of my life. But I just wonder if anybody else, which I shouldn't say. I can pretty well guess. I guess a lot of people struggle with their weight and struggle with weight issues. I shouldn't say if anybody else has had an issue like that, but I don't know. I hope that's not a normality. I hope that's not things other people do. I'm so glad that I was able to get over that and not do that, but it's just crazy to think that, you know what I mean? Like I'm thinking about him enjoying his first times as popcorn, and then it gives me the memories of like, man, my memories of popcorn are literally like eating so much more than one human ever should. I even have this other memory too, and it's probably I don't know if it has anything to do with it or not either, but like one time I remember we were watching, I think it was one of the Pierce Brosnan 007, so like one of the 007s that came out a long time ago with Pierce Brosnan, and it wasn't even the one with like Goldeneye, it was after that. I think it was like Tomorrow Never Dies or something like that. And I'm over at my it was like my neighbor kid's house, and it was my neighbor kid's cousins. So like my neighbor lived across the street, and then just down the street, like 9 houses down, their cousins lived there. So we're all hanging out there and we're watching 007. And I remember we were eating this popcorn, and I was just eating too much because I was around a lot of people. And then, of course you learn years later, you're not supposed to eat that much. You're not supposed to eat like a lot. And it's like, as I say it, it's like, it's obvious. It's no big deal. It's like everybody's supposed to learn those lessons. But like, I remember this girl was like, Ethan's just gorging himself. And like, I mean, that had to be almost 25 years ago, and it still like makes me, you know what I mean? So it's so weird, those things that you do, those things that you remember, the things like what the, yeah, I think that obviously has something to do with it. That's obviously, has something to do with this complex, is all these like things that you just compound in your memory for what reasons. It's like, I don't understand what it is. And people are like, dude, we don't either. You need to ask a professional about that. I don't know what the, that's a nice crackling sound. That's good for everybody. But, yeah, I don't know. Those, I saw that story a couple months ago, and I guess I just think about it because I feel like a lot of people that have been in a management position probably can relate in some way or another. But of course alcohol was involved, but there was that story in December where that lieutenant in New York had his rookie officer that was giving him a lap dance, and so of course he got in trouble. It was like in the New York Post, it was a big deal. So like everybody's like in an outrage, like how in the world could he allow this rookie officer to give him a lap dance at the Christmas party? And it's just like, I don't know. I've been in that situation. Like I should clarify. I've never been in the situation where a rookie officer is giving me a lap dance. But the reason that I say it is like, I remember there was these like hotel jobs that I had where like eventually I was in a GM position, and there was like people that, some people would call them your subordinates or whatever, but it was people that were below me. But like I'd be teaching them something on the computer, and this girl just literally was like completely pressing her chest up against me. I mean, like really hard, pressing her chest up against my body. And it's like, okay, maybe that's nothing. Maybe that's not anything. But my point in saying that is, this guy has this girl literally dancing all over him. Obviously it's inappropriate. Obviously it's not something that you should, I'm sure you guys have seen the videos. Again, it was months ago, so it's not like something that you'd still be thinking about. But like, he's got his hands all over her. He's got his hands, but she's dancing and grinding all over him. And then it's just like, again, in that situation, like, I mean, perfectly honestly, as the manager, like I back away. Of course, it's like, no way I'm going to possibly subject my future and my son and my income and any chance to mess up my future. And because like sometimes, and I know it's the worst to say, and I shouldn't even be, well, it is what it is. I'm super skeptical, unfortunately. So like, I would even think like if somebody was doing that, they were probably doing it on purpose to literally bait me into getting in trouble. So like, I'm so awful that like if somebody's doing that, I don't even think that genuine. Like, I didn't even think that they genuinely me to touch them or to touch me in that way. So I'm like, I back off, dude. I'm like, no, 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 no. You know what I mean? Because it's happened again. I've been in that situation, but this guy lent into it. And then it's like later you saw the articles of like his wife, and of course, like, if people were surrounding her, they were like, coming up to his house, and it's like, that's unfortunate to see, because you almost hate anybody that's in the spotlight that just can't be treated like a human anymore. And I know that's just how it is. It's just like basically the way it has become. So obviously, the reporters and everything are like coming after his wife, but when you see her, it's like, you understand why he let that really attractive rookie officer grind all over him. But he was like demoted to transit patrol or whatever, which makes me think of like the movies where like the Steven Seagal character, I think it's like Exit Wounds or something like that. People are like, dude, we stopped watching Steven Seagal after Under Siege, man. We're not, just get out of here with that reference. But I remember the Exit Wounds where, right, he gets demoted to the stand-in in a traffic intersection where there's no red and green light working, and so he has to direct traffic in his white gloves. But the guy got demoted to the transit department, and that's just what it makes me think of, is like something completely demoralizing that you wouldn't want to do. And again, that's just beyond my skepticism. The same thing I would think is like, I can't allow my future to rest on any sort of emotion, which almost in any other situation in my life as a man, it's like, yeah, I would act on that instinct. But it's like when it has to do with money, you wonder how some of these guys can be so dang dumb, But again, when I saw his wife, I was like, my eye's doing the thing again. My eye's doing the thing. It's so weird. It just spasms over my eyeball. I haven't had enough sleep. I get it. I haven't had enough sleep. But what is happening on my eyeball that's causing it just to completely have my eyelid spasm over it? I don't understand it. But, dude, I remember my first life. Yep, my first life. I remember my first life. Do you guys remember your first life? That's what I meant to say, of course, because that makes the most sense. As I think back to what I meant to say, of course it was, do you remember your first life? I remember my first job. I was talking about like one of my higher supervisor positions as a GM, and having girls behave in ways that I was like, this is completely inappropriate. I'm getting out of here, abort mission. But I remember my first job was, and maybe this is what trained me for it, is as a lifeguard. So like you know what I mean? The first time I ever got a job is like, I was actually literally, it sounds stupid, but it's where I was. Hopefully it was for some sort of potluck or something like that, but I was at a park and my friend called me and he was like, dude, I just got a job. He's like, it's a really good job. Like, I'm going to work as a lifeguard. And I was like, oh, well, can I do it? Is that something I can do? And that was the first thing that I ever did. It's like, we had this little water park in our town, so it just had like 2 water slides. So you like walked up this little like man-made hill, and I shouldn't say man-made because it was like fairly large. When you're a kid, things look a lot larger than they are, but it was big. Like, it was big enough that had like at least 2 tube slides and then 1 body slide, so like 1 human slide without it. But he had gotten a job there, and so then one of my other friends got a job there, and then I got a job there, and then many of our other friends got a job there. So all of us, like, one of our first jobs as teenagers during the summer in between school is like being a lifeguard, because it's nice. You literally luckily, I watch my kid. Like, luckily, if I'm going to put my son anywhere near the water, I am 100% going to be watching his every move. And I am so embarrassed to say, but at that time, I did not take it that seriously. Unfortunately, it was my first job. And like, I always thought that the bosses were actually really hardcore, right? Because like they had us what they called train once a week, but like we had a wave pool too. So like there was a wave pool and they would turn on the waves. And obviously they ran from like 9 to 5, right? So it either had to be early in the morning or it had to be after we closed at like 5 p.m. And so they would have us turn on the wave pool and just swim laps. And so most of the time it was in the morning when it was like really cold. I mean, it's not that it's necessarily that cold, but like the pool in a hot day is like 60 degrees because it wasn't heated. It was an outdoor pool. The idea was to cool down. And then so like in the morning it's freezing cold. So like I always thought these guys were really hardcore when they did that. But then like I met one of the, I shouldn't say I knew her my entire life. My sister was friends with her sister, and then me and her cheered together. And yeah, I guess if I've never mentioned, I cheered for a small amount of time in high school, but this girl was on the squad. She was in the captains actually, but why am I, damn it, I lost my train of thought. I don't remember what I was talking about. I don't remember what I was talking about. Why am I bringing her up? Because it's like, what are you talking about? Why are you bringing her up? What does this have to do with anything? What is that? What do we, oh, from the water park. So like for instance, years later, I was talking to this girl that I ended up, she was one of my friends. I spent a lot of time with her, and she said that our bosses there had a keg upstairs, and they literally all day they had to have these coffee cups, and the coffee cups were just full of beer the whole time. So the whole time they're just downloading keg from this beer. They have women that like deities, dude, like Greek goddesses, like spend every single day of the summer in the sun, every single day in the sun. So the blonde is way blonder than it ever would normally be. Their skin is way tanner than it ever would normally be. I mean, of course, if you're one of those like any ethnicity that's already supposed to have a darker pigment, I mean, you're just so dark, like so dark. So I mean, like, my point in saying that is these guys are just wasted all day long with just beautiful women walking around all over the place. Like, I feel like I was like tempted to have women like do weird things when I'm trying to teach them something on the computer, and they press their chest against me way too hard in what seems like an aggressive manner. And they have women, walking around like the uniform is a bikini. You know what I mean? Like you start in a bikini. So it's like, I guess if I think there's any temptation in the world of like the office world, like I can't imagine as a lifeguard, but those guys were actually weird. Like I don't think, well, so they would, I say this because as a manager, I would have never done this, and obviously there's something completely wrong with this, and I get a little hesitant about talking about it, but I'm like, it was so long ago. It was my first job. Like, this is, you know what I mean? So long ago, there's no way anybody could say anything about it, but they would pay us $50, like the guy lifeguards there, they would pay us $50 if you would let them hit your bare dick with an electric fly swatter and videotape it. So, obviously that's so wrong. Obviously that's never okay. And that's insane. And I guess I just smile because, like, to think that something like that was going on, and it was just like, I was a young kid, you know what I mean? Like, it was basically, I probably got paid, I think I got paid like in the $9 an hour range or whatever it was. So like that would have been, they paid us $50 to do that. So that would have been like 4 hours of work unpaid. But I mean, you can't really call lifeguarding work. You literally just stand next to a pool. Almost so rarely does anything happen. I did have to pull a kid that was way too young to be on a tube slide by himself. Never should have been on that. I don't know where his parents were, but literally came out the bottom of the tube slide, was underwater on the bottom of the pool. So where's his oxygen, right? Clearly couldn't have had enough oxygen, or maybe it was just there was enough momentum as you come out the bottom of the slide, but enough momentum that he's on the bottom of the pool, and the top was way above his head, way over his head, and I ended up having to grab him. But that was probably the biggest save I ever had to do. So point being, I mean, most of the time you're just standing there doing nothing, so it's tough to say it's work. But dude, there was friends of mine that definitely took that $50. But obviously, as you look back, like that is so not okay. That is insanely not okay. And then beyond all of it, to remember there's an aspect where it gets videotaped. So you get the $50 if they let you hit you in the bare dick with an electric fly swatter and videotape it. Like, dude, what in the world? That's why I was hesitant to say it, because it's like, I don't know how far back people would go to try to go for that, but they seem like normal people, man. I remember sitting in his Navigator. Like, I remember he had like a Navigator, our boss, with spinners on it. And we like went to the fair one night and he gave us so much Jaeger. Like, I drank more Jaeger than I ever should. I remember just barfing my brains out. Like, I had a story about barfing my brains out on purpose. Dude, this is a time that was on accident. I just had so much Jaeger. And then I was in that thing that goes up and spins and spins and spins. What a bad idea. The worst idea ever. I'll be right back. I'm back. Have you guys ever thought about, like, how much milk do you think you have to drink before you start to smell like sour milk? Like, if you've drank a certain amount of milk and it's finally coming out your sweat, like you've drank so much that it's coming out your pores and making you smell like sour milk. How much milk do you think that is? How much milk do you think you have to drink before it's like, when you sweat, you smell like sour milk? I think 80 ounces. I think it's like 80 ounces. So, for my other fellow poor people, that's like two 40-ounce malt liquors. I could name them, but we all know them. And if you don't know them, that's good for you. I'm glad your life has been at a point where you don't know the names. Dude, that's a part of my vocabulary. That's a part of my vocabulary. Just like, do you know what I mean? Or you know what I'm saying? Unfortunately. And dude is a part of my vocabulary. I said it earlier. I was embarrassed. I tried to think that it was just like, yep, it was a one-off thing. I said dude, but it's a part of my vocabulary, unfortunately. So, yep, I'm that guy. I'm the guy that says dude. I'm the guy that's 32 and says dude. But did you guys ever play Edward 40 Hands as a kid? Did you ever have, like, if you haven't done it, good for you. Like I said, that's great. But you tape two 40-ounce malt liquors to your hands, and you can't do anything until you drink the two 40-ounce malt liquors. I remember there was this one guy that we hung out with, and I was not there when this happened. I was not anywhere near him when this occurred, but he had one night where he played that game, and he woke up in the hospital because he drank so much that he, what is it called? I don't know what it's called. I want to say it's like overdose. I want to say overdose, but basically just drank too much. So he drank so much that he literally passed out in the snow outside, and then woke up in the hospital. I don't know. I forget what it's called when you drink too much alcohol, but yeah, that's why I wouldn't recommend anybody do that. That's not why, but that's a good reason why you shouldn't do that is, but it was just, they called it Edward 40 Hands, and point being, like the idea was like that movie with Johnny Depp from a long time ago where people are like, dude, are you seriously, are you going to explain what Edward, are you out of your mind? Do you think people don't know okay. Yeah. People know what Edward Scissorhands is. So it was like Edward 40 Hands because you taped the two 40s to your hands and you couldn't touch anything. Like if you drank them once they were both done, so you drank these 2 ounces, 2 80-ounce bottles. You drank these 2 40-ounce bottles, 80 ounces in total of malt liquor, then you could use your hands. But obviously by that time you're so inebriated you can't really do anything. And like I said, in some instances kids literally went to the hospital, so not good. Not something you want to do. But I don't know. How many people are still shaking hands? How many people, it's not 100% one way or the other, right? Like I meet with people consistently like throughout the week, and people don't, you go up and like one guy wants to shake hands, and it's been, some people, I shouldn't say some people, Joe Rogan, the #1 podcast in the entire world, sometimes he'll say like, I've never stopped shaking hands. But like you hear some people that it's like, they've continued to shake hands. And it's so crazy. Like when somebody actually still does shake my hand. I just had some almonds. Tried to eat some almonds. Had that conversation where I was talking about the almonds. Decided to go have some almonds when I stepped off. And then now they're coming back up. Now I'm burping all over the place. But it just seems like one person will shake hands, right? And then like if I go to the next person and I try to shake hands, they look at me like I'm a mutant. They're like, "What are you doing? Why in the what are you?" And some of them are nice, right? Like some of them give you the elbow. They come across with the elbow. They're like, "Oh yeah, just elbow, dude." Like or like some people come in a lot closer and they give you the knuckles, but you can tell that they're uncomfortable. You can tell that they don't want to give you the knuckles. But my point in saying that is it's not 100% one way and it's not 100% the other. Like if the guy shakes my hand, I can't the next day assume that I'm going to shake the next guy's hand. The next guy may elbow bump me. The next guy may fist bump me. The next guy may just look at me. It almost seems like more often than not, I go to a house, I meet with somebody, we do not shake hands. I talk with them for a long period of time. I discuss their project. I discuss what I'm going to do with them. I leave. I do not shake their hand. It's crazy. For so long, that was a thing. For so long, that was a thing. And again, there are some people still doing it. There are some people keeping it alive. But isn't it just so crazy that there's no consistency in that whatsoever? Like, especially, again, if you're meeting a lot of people from a lot of walks of life, it's like, you know what I mean? It could be 20 in a row that'll shake your hand. And then all of a sudden you get a guy that's like, have you paid attention? Like, what are you doing? And I just like, I don't know. I can't seem to, there's no, it's not a big deal. It's not like I'm the first one that's dealing with it. My thought is just like, I don't know. I guess it's like the mask thing in the beginning, right? Like when I first met with everybody, I just had to have like one of those gaiters around my neck. I always just had a gaiter. And then like we got in trouble when we went to, we tried to get in an amusement park and they couldn't use them. And then even a year later, we got in trouble trying to get on a flight with them. But everybody's just, it says mask. It says mask. That's a gaiter. You can't use a gaiter. But the nice thing about them in my job was like, again, it's like there's no consistency whatsoever. So if I have it around my neck, it's so easy just to pull it up. But I just keep it in my pocket. I just have one in my pocket. I'm just ready. Even the other day, I remember I walked in like an insurance agency and this gal was like, "Oh, shoot," you know what I mean? And then like I feel bad. Like I'm putting mine on to be respectful. And then the woman I walk up to is like, "Oh, no," you know what I mean? Almost as if like she's disrespecting me because I have one on. And I'm like, it's just so weird because like I'm putting one on to try to be respectful for you, but then you feel weird because you don't have one on, and then you throw yours on, and it's like, well, I was just trying to be respectful of you, and I don't know. That's what I mean. Everybody's like already dealt with it. They've had to, everybody's going through that. So it's like there's no consistency in the whole thing. Everybody's dealing with it in a completely different way, and I don't even think you're supposed to talk about it. So it is what it is. I probably shouldn't have even mentioned it, but. I don't know. It just, you deal with it. The handshaking thing made me think about it, and then so that's why I talked about it. And then probably a bad idea. I shouldn't have done that. Did you guys see? One thing I thought that was really cool, and again, it's probably super old news. I just say that because the corporate press, one, is able to get out stories so much faster. I mean, like they're amazing. Obviously, they have. I shouldn't say they're amazing. They have the ability to stay on top of a lot of stories and be able to report and consistently put out things. So it's like a lot of times, anytime I mention something, I feel like everybody's probably already seen it. It's like where you're 30 seconds later already mentioning something that everybody's feel like they already, well, that's past. You know what I mean? Like that's already in the past. We're not dealing with that anymore. But when they dealt with that, when they took down that Robert E. Lee statue in the I think it was in the tower, so like in the piece above ground, I think it was like 20 feet above ground in the tower between the Robert E. Lee statue and the ground, there was a time capsule. So like they had put from I didn't write it down. I thought maybe I had something to refer to. I'm a piece of shit. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. But whenever they originally put that statue in, they put a time capsule in there, and they had this book, and I just thought it was really cool. Like, I mean, one of the books they put in there was an almanac, and almanac's cool. It's nice that they put anything from the 1800s in there just to preserve when they had originally put it up. But I saw somebody said that one of the books on the front of it that I read was it said love, and I just thought that was really cool. It's like, man, it seems like you pay attention to religion, or you pay attention to cults, or you pay attention to anybody trying to put a message across and just trying to guide people, ultimately trying to give people an example of like what to live by and what to do. And it just seems like whether you follow a religion, or again, you've gotten even sucked into something that's so mind-boggling and taking over your head, like a cult or something like that, so often it just seems like the bottom answer is love. And I don't mean to be corny in saying that, but it just, to me, when I read that story and I see that they include an almanac and then they include a book that's so wet because it's been under there for so long that it's obviously not in as good a condition as it could have been. But whenever they erected this Robert E. Lee statue, they put the almanac and the time capsule and all these other things in there. And this particular book, the one thing that stands out on the cover is just love. And it's just like, again, man, it seems like so often you can look at the fine print of what everybody's really trying to tell you, and it's like it can be so many of these stories or so many of these things that you're supposed to find an underlining meaning to, and it's so interesting to often just see love as a common denominator in all of them. And I don't mean to. I notice myself talking not as like I was barely talking, right? I was like not speaking or enunciating as much as I should be, and I guess it's because I'm nervous to say that, but I just think it's cool. I think history's cool to begin with. The dumbest history excites me. The dumbest stuff. I remember one time I saw this story, and I've probably talked about it before. I don't know why I say that. People are like, dude, we don't listen to you. I'm never going to listen to you again. I can't believe I'm listening to you right now. I don't know why I'm paying attention to this. No, but I say, I think you've listened to this before, but I remember one time I was reading a story about Walt Disney, and he has on Walt Disney's property on the land, they have a runway that was originally used for him. And I remember I looked at the picture of it and it says STOL, but I guess that means short takeoff or landing, or short takeoff and landing or something like that. But it's STOL. So I was like, oh, what does that stand for? That's so crazy. But he had his own runway that for the longest time he was actually able to use on his property there in Florida, but then eventually they didn't allow him to. But it had this thing where when you were driving at 45 miles an hour and the tires of the plane landed it played What a Wonderful World as you were pulling in, because he just thought if you could start your vacation by landing on the property and having What a Wonderful World play. And I'm probably not allowed to say that, and for God's sakes, it's like I'm not trying to, who knows? I don't know if I'm allowed to say that or not. I don't know the rules. I haven't learned the rules enough. Imagine that. Imagine me not reading enough into the rules. But no, I thought that was really cool. My point in saying that is that's the type of history that attracts me, or the fact that they find a time capsule in this statue and that it's got the word love on it. But it just does seem like you see a lot of people that tried to pass a message on from their time, or a lot of people that were considered wise, or a lot of people that were trying to pass some sort of wisdom on to other people. And it just seems like an underlying factor was often love. And I think we can all learn from that. And I don't know. People have this silly thing. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Around where I come from, I'm from a place called Loveland. So in Loveland, Colorado, and for some reason, for a really long time, they had what's called the Loveland Meat Remailing Program. And I guess I'm talking fast because I know it's silly, but everybody would send mail to Loveland, Colorado to have it stamped, right? So Loveland would re-stamp this particular piece of mail and say with a new catch and a new picture and a new stamp every year. So it would for instance, have came through the Sweetheart City, and then for the longest time they would tell us that there's this rivalry with Valentine, Nebraska. And then it's you grow up and you realize, dude, nobody gives a fuck about the dispute between people in Nebraska and Colorado. Nobody's paying attention to that except people in Nebraska and Colorado. But if you ever did drive through Loveland, you'd see they have hearts everywhere, and they've really leaned into it. Because, a lot of cities, they've taken that hospitality tax. So, for instance, they charge, at the time when I worked for hotels, I don't know if they do it anymore, but they used to charge an extra 3%. So, you have your stay, and then you have tax, and then on top of the normal tax that you would pay for the state and federal, they also have what's called a hospitality tax. And so that hospitality tax, for instance, in our area at the time was 3%, but that 3% goes into a fund, and then that 3%, the city, or whoever, in our case the city, controls that. So it's a hospitality department. But one thing that they've used that money in our area for is putting hearts all over the place. There's hearts everywhere, because Loveland's supposed to be the sweetheart city of America. And I don't know, I know this is coming out right before Valentine's Day, and I know I mentioned Valentine's Day a couple weeks ago, but that was just because it was approaching, and now I know it's literally going to be right after this comes out. So Anyway, hopefully you guys got your stuff. I don't have anything else to say about it. I've told you I think it's too much pressure. I think it's absolutely crazy. I couldn't, when I ever had a partner, try to keep up with, if I bought him something cool ever once and I actually felt proud of it, then I couldn't keep up with it the next time. So it's not for me. But hopefully you guys have got your stuff. And if you don't, this is your reminder. Like, dude, nobody wants reminders from you, but thanks for speaking. No, nobody cared. No. All right. It was great to chat with you guys. I appreciate it. I'm going to go make those cookies with my son. I hope you guys have a great day. Love you. Can't wait to talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.